historic conflicts.
The Battle of Stalingrad, 1942 to 1943. Winter, Russia, 1942. The air is frozen. The ground is soaked with blood. A soldier clutches his last piece of bread and waits for death. Around him, buildings lie in ruins. Smoke rises into the gray sky. No food, no hope, just snow and gunfire. Welcome to Stalingrad, the city that became hell on earth. Here, over 2 million men would fight like animals, house by house, floor by floor, every brick soaked in fire, fear, and frost. But this was more than just a battle. It was a turning point, a clash of two empires, Hitler's ambition versus Stalin's survival. And in this frozen graveyard, the future of World War II would be decided. Summer 1942. After failing to conquer Moscow, Hitler turned south to the Caucasus and its oil fields. But one city stands in his way: Stalingrad. Located on the banks of the Volga River, Stalingrad is a major industrial center and transport hub. But more than that, it carries the name of Stalin himself. For Hitler, capturing Stalingrad would crush Soviet morale and secure the southern front. For Stalin, losing it would be a devastating humiliation. The city must be held, no matter the cost. In August 1942, over 1 million Axis troops pushed toward the city. At the front, Germany's 6th Army, led by General Friedrich Paulus. The Luftwaffe begins the bombardment. In just 2 days, much of Stalingrad is reduced to rubble. Factories, homes, hospitals, all consumed in flame. More than 40,000 civilians die in the opening raids alone. But the Soviets do not flee. Instead, they prepare to fight, street by street, brick by brick, because Stalin has given the order, not one step back. By September 1942, German troops had entered the outskirts of Stalingrad. But this was no ordinary city. This wasn't Paris or Warsaw. This was a shattered maze of fire, concrete, and death. Every street became a front line, every apartment block, a fortress, every basement, a trap. The Soviets adopted a ruthless tactic, hugging the enemy, staying so close that German planes and artillery couldn't be used without hitting their own troops. Fighting erupted inside factories, stairwells, schools, even sewer tunnels beneath the streets. Soldiers climbed through windows with knives between their teeth. Snipers hid inside chimneys. Whole squads vanished in collapsed buildings. The Germans called it Rattenkrieg, the Rat War. Day and night blurred into chaos. Both sides often slept just meters apart, separated only by crumbling walls. At dawn, they charged. Grenades flew through broken windows. Bayonets clashed in dark corridors. Men killed with shovels, bricks, even bare hands. Some buildings changed hands 5 times in a single day. One became legend, Pavlov's house, defended by a handful of Soviet soldiers against relentless German assaults. They held it for 60 days. Reinforcements crossed the icy Volga River under cover of night, braving enemy fire. Many never made it, but still, they came, because Stalin had commanded it, and the Red Army obeyed no matter the cost. By November 1942, the Germans controlled most of Stalingrad, but they were exhausted. Supplies were low. Winter was coming. Then, the Soviets struck. On November 19th, Operation Uranus began. It was not aimed at the city itself, but at the weaker Axis forces guarding the flanks. Romanian and Hungarian troops, poorly equipped and overstretched. In a massive surprise attack, 2 Soviet armies surged through the steppe like a storm. In just 4 days, they met west of Stalingrad, encircling the entire German 6th Army. Over 300,000 Axis soldiers were trapped. A steel ring had closed. There was no escape. Hitler refused to let them break out. "Hold the city," he ordered. "Help is coming." The Luftwaffe was tasked with supplying the encircled troops by air. But it was a logistical nightmare. The planes couldn't carry enough. Many were shot down. The 6th Army received less than 20% of what it needed to survive. Food disappeared. Ammunition ran low. The bitter Russian winter closed in. Frostbite, hunger, and disease spread rapidly. Morale collapsed. Still, they held on. Not out of hope, but because they were forbidden to surrender. As the snow deepened, So did the suffering inside Stalingrad. The encircled German 6th Army I, over 300,000 men, was now starving, freezing, and dying. Temperatures dropped to 30 degrees, rations were almost gone, ammunition was dwindling. The Luftwaffe managed to deliver only a fraction of the promised supplies. Soldiers ate frozen horse meat, then wallpaper glue. Some turned to cannibalism. Frostbite took fingers and toes. Disease spread through crowded bunkers. There was no warmth, no medicine, no hope. General Friedrich Paulus, trapped in a frozen basement, sent desperate messages to Hitler. Each time, the response was the same: hold Stalingrad. By late January 1943, the 6th Army was collapsing. Soviet forces closed in from every direction. On January 31st, Paulus surrendered. He became the first German field marshal ever captured alive. 3 days later, all organized German resistance in the city ceased. Of the 300,000 soldiers trapped, only about 90,000 survived to surrender. Most would die in Soviet captivity. Stalingrad, once Hitler's dream of victory, had become a graveyard of his ambition. The Battle of Stalingrad was over, but the pain was just beginning. More than 2 million men fought in this one city. Half of them never returned. German losses were catastrophic. The myth of Nazi invincibility had been shattered. The Red Army had stopped the beast and begun its long push westward all the way to Berlin. But the price was unimaginable. Entire neighborhoods were reduced to ash. Tens of thousands of civilians buried beneath rubble. Mothers searching for sons who would never come home. And soldiers, both German and Soviet, left broken in body and soul. Stalingrad became more than a battle. It became a symbol of resistance, of sacrifice, of unimaginable suffering. For Hitler, it marked the beginning of the end. He once said, "A German soldier does not surrender." But in Stalingrad they did, because war had pushed them beyond the limits of humanity. Today, Stalingrad reminds us of the true cost of hatred, ambition, and blind obedience. It reminds us that no ideology is worth the lives of millions, and no nation should ever again believe that total war brings glory. For those who walk freely today, remember this frozen hell and say no to war at any cost. Thank you for respecting history. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and write the bell so you don't miss any battles.